Today on Investigate TV Plus, we examine a popular home product that during fabricating can produce a potentially dangerous dust.
So it's as if their lungs have turned to stone.
Yes.
We speak with workers across the country who say countertops like these cause their incurable disease.
I feel like I should be able to breathe deeper, but I can't. It's tight.
And as one country bans the product, we explore a similar mission in the U.S. and hear from industry leaders pushing back.
It's not a product issue, it's a process issue.
Plus,
I love you.
I love you more.
A sheriff's deputy winds up in handcuffs after video calls reveal a potentially inappropriate relationship with an inmate.
I love you so much.
I love you too so much.
We examine how the case raises safety questions.
Then, cards of kindness.
When God closes a door, he opens a window.
How one woman's unexpected setback became her greatest purpose.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
They're in kitchens and bathrooms everywhere. Engineered stone countertops marketed as better than granite or marble.
But we found the dust from cutting that stone can be deadly, leaving hundreds of workers seriously sick.
31-year-old Tyler Jordan once planned on taking over his father's shop, but after being diagnosed with an incurable lung disease, he says he's unable to work, and he's uncertain for his and his family's future.
I really don't know. I don't really have a plan anymore.
Investigative reporter Anna Werner uncovers the lung disease leaving workers gasping for breath.
Plus, she examines the recent push to ban the product and the response from manufacturers.
They're countertops installed in kitchens and bathrooms across the country, made from what's called engineered stone, created from crushed quartz. Workers in small local shops nationwide cut and shape those stone slabs, but now many are becoming critically ill. Like 31-year-old Tyler Jordan.
Trying to take a deep breath, there's just a point where there's no more. I feel like I should be able to breathe deeper, but I can't. It's tight.
Tyler lives in Missouri now with his wife and 3 kids. But he used to work in his family's stone fabrication shop in Colorado, alongside his dad, Jimmy, who runs the shop.
I liked doing that. It interested me. Looked up to my dad.
You kind of thought, my dad, that'll be me someday.
Mm-hmm, yes.
I'll run the shop.
Yes.
That is, until about 3 years ago. In spring of 2022, he started having tightness in his chest, followed by pain. Tyler says doctors first thought it might be cancer, but it was something else.
And then now, looking back, cancer would have been a better outcome.
Cancer would have been better.
Yes.
Because instead, it was silicosis, a deadly illness caused by breathing in silica dust. Silica is present in natural stones like marble and granite, but studies show the amount of silica in man-made engineered stone is often far higher, as high as 90%, much of it in tiny, nano-sized particles that can lodge deep in the lungs. Hundreds of stone workers are being diagnosed with silicosis. State data shows 480 in California alone since 2019, with 27 deaths. Dr. Jane Fazio of the UCLA School of Medicine sees many of those workers.
Those are abnormal.
She showed us how the lungs of a person with silicosis harden, then shrink.
They really do become hard. They become essentially stone.
So it's as if their lungs have turned to stone.
Yes.
There is no cure. The only treatment, she says, is often a risky double lung transplant. 52 California workers have required transplants just in the past few years. But she says there's a simple solution: ban engineered stone.
Change the product. Ban the high silica material.
But up in Minnesota, the country's largest domestic engineered stone slab manufacturer, Cambria, says she's wrong.
The ban will not solve the problem. It's not a product issue, it's a process issue.
Cambria's former president, Micah Aberson, says Cambria has been making its products safely for 25 years.
And in those 25 years, we haven't had a single reported case of silicosis.
Aberson says the responsibility for sick workers lies with other fabrication shops around the country that don't follow safety regulations and need tighter government enforcement.
If they can't do it safely, then they need to be shut down.
But the country of Australia doesn't agree it can be fabricated safely. In 2024, it banned the use of engineered stone entirely, finding it poses an unacceptable risk to workers. And hundreds of doctors are now urging California to do the same, citing an escalating health emergency. As to Tyler Jordan, in 2024, his condition worsened. Doctors told him his exposure to silica had caused his kidneys to fail, and he needed a transplant.
And who was the donor?
My father.
He saved you.
Yes.
Tyler says that you saved him. Do you feel that way?
Kind of, but at the same time, I put him in that position. Unknowingly.
Tyler is now suing Cambria and other stone and tool manufacturers. In court filings, Cambria acknowledged Tyler's silicosis but denied responsibility, saying it had provided adequate warnings about its products. Cambria instead blamed Tyler's parents, saying they failed to provide a safe workplace for their son. Jimmy and Tina Jordan.
That's not true. They don't want the blame, so they're going to put blame on us. That we had a bad shop, that we had a dusty shop, that we were putting our employees in bad positions, but that's not true.
Yet a bill being pushed through Congress would stop all worker lawsuits against manufacturers and sellers of stone products, including Tyler's lawsuit.
Did Cambria help to write the bill?
There's a broad-based coalition that's pursuing this legislation in Washington.
And Cambria is part of that coalition?
That's correct.
I think it's a little bit ridiculous when a product is this dangerous to not have any repercussions about, putting it out and getting people sick or essentially killing them.
California's Occupational Safety Board is considering a petition to ban those countertops in that state. The association that represents fabricators has said it does not support a blanket ban.
Some manufacturers are currently making lower silica products, which is another alternative.
Still ahead,
30 seconds to go.
Runners with one thing in common find their community.
We're here to raise awareness and show this community and everybody here in the region that there are folks in your community with MWS.
We uncover the rare disorder that brought these families together.
But first, a law enforcement officer's relationship with an inmate leads to a release of potentially critical information.
Who is the state? State Patrol?
We take an in-depth look at what unfolded.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes.
Police officers take an oath to protect and serve their communities.
But we found in rare cases, some in law enforcement can find themselves on the other side of handcuffs.
According to researchers at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, no government agency tracks arrests of law enforcement.
But the university's Henry A. Wallace Police Crime Database does. Its data shows each year between 2006 and 2021, the U.S. saw about 1,200 cases in which a police officer was arrested.
One recent case happened in Georgia. In October 2025, a sheriff's deputy found herself in hot water when an investigation uncovered her relationship had crossed the line.
Diana Santiago was fired right before she was taken into custody, but reporter Meredith Anderson uncovered problems that could have banned her from being a law enforcement officer in Georgia years ago.
It's no secret.
Hey, what's up?
So what poppin'?
Almost every jail call is recorded.
I love seeing your beautiful face. You just give me life, bro.
No one should know that better than a law enforcement officer.
I love you.
I love you more.
But in 2022, then Richmond County Deputy Diana Santiago was recorded at least 27 times talking to an inmate at the Greene County Jail, putting your safety and the safety of her fellow deputies at risk. We'll get to that inmate in just a minute, but first, let's talk about those calls. In about half of them, Deputy Santiago is in uniform.
I'm only doing it to make money for you, else I wouldn't do that bullshit.
And yes, she's actually driving her patrol car in this video call.
I try not to work with rappers or anybody.
In some calls, she appears to be on duty.
Damn, he really trying to get a fucking ticket.
Who?
He's just flying down here like an idiot, like he don't see a damn car right here.
At one point, she shows him where she is working. And another time, he brings up a gang by name.
Where you at?
Shirley Avenue.
Shirley, get on low.
I know.
Again, this was 2022. Fast forward to 2025 and Santiago's arrest in October. Documents show her connection to that same gang.
LOE, loyalty over everything.
According to her recent arrest warrant, she admitted to an intimate relationship with a member of LOE. It also says she admitted to visiting that member while she was on duty and using the Richmond County Sheriff's Office databases to look up information for him. That suspect is not the same person in these videos. This inmate is Raheem Brown, who at the time was facing felony drug charges in Greene County, but that's not all. Brown was arrested when he was out on bond on murder and armed robbery charges for a shooting that killed a man in 2021 at the Budgetel on 5th Street in Augusta. Brown is also a convicted felon.
I love you so much.
I love you too so much.
According to Santiago's disciplinary file, it was well known around the jail Brown was in a relationship with a deputy, which isn't surprising considering these video calls are out in the open. You can even see her in uniform waving to another inmate. She's also listed as Raheem Brown's wife on his visitation information. Someone reported all of this to Internal Affairs at the Richmond County Sheriff's Office in 2022, and Santiago didn't deny it. She said she met Brown at the Augusta Mall about 5 or 6 months earlier when he was out on bond. The relationship violated policy, but she agreed to end it, so she was suspended for just 1 day. She was ordered to have no contact with the inmate, but was allowed to have a closure breakup call. By then, the damage could have already been done. She had already told a convicted felon in jail on drug charges about an operation to find fentanyl.
Who is the state patrol?
Oh, undercover, but it's got all of them out here. Remember I told you, like, different spots, different places.
They look for that shit like that.
And she was busted not having her body cam on.
You left the camera, right?
Well, then they won't see nothing. What you don't see, you don't know.
Which certainly makes you wonder why in 2022, all then Sheriff Richard Roundtree gave Deputy Santiago was a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I love you.
I love you too forever, of course. You know that. Duh.
Allowing her to essentially fly under the radar when she found herself on the other side of the law.
Had Sheriff Roundtree fired Santiago in 2022, it would have triggered a state investigation.
Georgia Post certifies all law enforcement officers. That investigation could have prevented her from ever being an officer again in Georgia. Because she was fired this time, Post is now investigating. Still ahead,
runners take your marks, and there we go, folks.
Racing for recognition.
When we first heard about this syndrome, you hear there's 300 kids at that time that had it, and you just are completely astonished.
we examine a rare disorder and meet the families who navigate its daily challenges together. Plus, countless creations for any occasion.
Birthday cards, get well cards, condolences cards, Christmas cards.
How she's crafting one-of-a-kind messages of hope for those who need it most.
Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms.
It's a condition so rare, the National Library of Medicine says as of 2024, only 300 cases have been identified.
Mowat-Wilson syndrome is a genetic disorder typically apparent at birth or during childhood. It's characterized by intellectual disability and physical symptoms, including seizures.
When your child has a condition so rare that only a few hundred people share, community can be everything.
Reporter Deborah Alfarone introduces us to the families who say they're all in this together.
30 seconds to go. All right, runners, take your marks. And there we go, folks. Run for MWS 5K is officially underway.
These runners all have something in common. They care about someone with a rare genetic disorder called Mowat-Wilson syndrome, or MWS.
When we first heard about this syndrome, you hear there's 300 kids at that time that had it, and you just are completely astonished.
Doctors diagnosed Joy Pachuki's son Hayden with MWS as a baby. He's now 5.
Originally, he had a lot of breathing issues until he learned stability. That continues today. So he was delayed in everything. He is not currently walking. He does have a walker that he is learning to take steps. Most kids with Mowat-Wilson are walking sometime between the ages of 6 and 8 on average. So we are very hopeful that that milestone is coming soon.
The disorder can affect each child differently. Adam Batchelor is the vice president of the Mowat-Wilson Syndrome Foundation.
If you're someone who has an MWS diagnosis, it probably means that you have some level of intellectual disability and physical disability. It also, very typically results in epilepsy, speech and language disorders, in some cases heart defects, brain anatomy issues.
Adam says MWS is a relatively young disorder. Doctors first identified it in 1998. He's here at this park in Frederick, Maryland, with his 9-year-old daughter Harper. She has MWS. More than 120 runners and walkers joined the race. Even pups ran to support Harper, Hayden, and other children with it.
We're out here running for the MWS Foundation today to do a couple of things. With such a small community of folks diagnosed with the disease, it can be extra hard for us to fundraise. Maybe even more importantly, we're here to raise awareness and show this community and everybody here in the region that there are folks in your community with MWS who would love your support and attention and affection and understanding.
Runs like this one are happening across the country. This is Joy's 5th since her son's diagnosis.
These kids, in my case, my daughter, are just the most special, incredible, loving people you could ever imagine. If you have the opportunity to meet someone with MWS or a family member of theirs, get to know them, ask them about the diagnosis, find out more.
We have learned from those other families, and we've learned a lot from Hayden. Hayden's development is significantly delayed. He does not talk to us, but he does communicate, and he does make our family very happy, and we are so blessed that he is the youngest in our family. So really, he is the one that is teaching his siblings so much about life, and we're just so happy to have him.
The Mowat-Wilson Syndrome Foundation helps families navigate this diagnosis and raise money for research. For more information, head to mowat-wilson.org.
Still ahead, meet a woman on a path of creativity.
It actually was therapy for me in the beginning.
How handmade greeting cards turned into a heartfelt new purpose.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. It's free to download.
Whether it's a birthday, a holiday, or just because, a greeting card has the power to make many people smile.
A South Carolina woman has perfected that art of creating them with one-of-a-kind works of art.
Reporter Lauren Korn explains how her cards help bring hope to others.
And that puts the stamp images on the paper.
She pours love into every detail.
I usually clean this off.
Spending hours perfecting each small work of art.
I love it.
It's the feeling Lori Wolf has every time she makes a handmade greeting card.
I'm going to color the nutcracker.
Inside her impressive studio.
My dream was to have a room dedicated to it.
An assortment of colors, tools, and countless types of paper fill the shelves.
Well, I can't say how many thousands of dollars because my husband will see this.
Just to make the eclectic creations that she says takes anywhere between 30 minutes to 4 hours to finish.
I start making Christmas cards in December for the next year.
Lori is part of a huge card-making community, spending the last 10 years taking classes and retreats to hone her craft.
We had 2,800 card makers in 21 countries. We have 4 days of classes that are 12-hour days.
Having fun using different media.
He's just a whimsical tree. It's not just coloring and putting things on there, but you can do clay, you can do what's called alcohol inks, there's pastes.
Even the messy moments end up being her favorite.
Getting inky.
All to make sure their motto, share handmade kindness, reads loud and clear.
You can make someone's day.
Not only is this Lori's hobby, but also a business, launching Coast to Coast Cards 4 years ago.
It actually was therapy for me in the beginning.
Lori opened her world to card making after getting diagnosed with lupus, forcing her to retire from being a doctor.
When God closes a door, he opens a window. And he closed the door on medicine, and he opened the window with cards. And now it's just thinking of the people that receive them.
She also spends time donating her blank artwork to the nonprofit Cards for Kindness.
They go to Ronald McDonald House. They go to local shelters, hospitals, pediatric hospitals. They just hand them out to make someone's day. Birthday cards, get well cards, condolences cards, Christmas cards. I'm gonna put the ornaments on.
It's a pastime, Lori says, has blossomed into a purpose, bringing joy to herself and others for years to come.
I've taken a lot of coloring classes.
I am inspired to now step up my Christmas cards. I have to do better.
I mean, seriously, she's impressive. If I could only draw like that, I could do it, but I know what my strengths and weaknesses are, and that is not something I would be good at.
Well, she's doing a beautiful job.
She is incredible, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, the wife of a fallen firefighter faced uncertainty after an accidental insurance drop.
I'm a healthcare provider myself, and so I take very seriously the importance of having health insurance. And if something were to happen, if we were to get in a car accident tomorrow, they would not be covered.
We explain what happened and what you need to know if you find yourself without coverage.